We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Reaching out to the four corners of the globe and broadcasting to you live from the studios of LA Talk Live in beautiful sunny Los Angeles, California. Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially 4:20. It's that time. And that's right, it's that time for the world's only show that explores the global impact of cannabis throughout California and the world. This is the one and only, the Marijualogist, going 8 years strong. Right here in the studios of LA Talk Live tonight, as always. It's a beautiful sunny day in LA. Why wouldn't it be? It always is. And we're going to be bringing you information regarding the cannabis industry tonight, as we always do. We explore the social, political, economic, medical, and ecological impact of cannabis on the globe. I'm your humble host, Richard Karr. As always, we like to start our show off until we can get ourselves settled with a little message from the cannabis industry. Tonight, we're going to start with something from one of my idols. His name is Senator Cory Booker, Senator of New Jersey, Democratic Senator, I might add. And he has a message about why he thinks marijuana should be legal in America. So let's take a moment out to check this out, and we'll be right back. More from the Marijualogist with yours truly, Richard Karr. Joining me tonight, as always, my esteemed colleague, Ikkor the Wolf, who will be settling in shortly. And while I get my lips together, enjoy this message from Law Enforcement Action Partnership, and, of course, our good senator, Democratic Senator from New Jersey, Cory Booker, says marijuana should be legal throughout the country. He has, in fact, initiated a program and some legislation to speak to that. So to start our show off tonight, we're going to start with that.
We lost signal before. This is a very important bill I'm about to introduce. But I want to give you a little background first and foremost. We live in a country where we swear this ideal. We put our hand over our heart, and we believe very strongly that we are to be a nation of liberty and justice for all. Well, one way in which we have not fulfilled that promise, that ideal, is through our criminal justice system. And this hasn't been always the case in terms of what we're seeing today in our modern criminal justice system. And what has happened really is the so-called war on drugs. Since the 1980s, our federal prison population has gone up 800%. Overall in our country, a 500% increase in incarceration. Not only is that taking billions and billions of dollars of our taxpayer money, but we are not seeing the equal application of the criminal justice system. We're not seeing people being arrested in any way that reflect our values. Now, if you think about it for a second, we in this nation have seen the war on drugs. We could actually go to our prisons, go to our jails, and just see who is getting swept up, who is getting incarcerated. One of my great heroes, a guy named Brian Stevenson, says we have a justice system that treats you better if you're rich and guilty than poor and innocent. Well, if you go to our criminal or our jails around this country, you're going to see disproportionately poor people. You're going to see disproportionately people of color, the mentally ill, disproportionately people who are addicted, and disproportionately our veterans. We in this country have done and persecuted the drug war, not on everyone, but have focused it on the most vulnerable people in our communities. Now, I know this personally. Having grown up in a town that was relatively privileged compared to where I've lived for the last 20 years in Newark, New Jersey. In addition to that, going to college and to graduate school, you don't see kids coming home from frat parties being stopped and frisked. You don't see the enforcement of marijuana laws. In fact, in so many of the privileged circles I've been blessed to be in, and many times you hear people bragging about using pot, making jokes about it. It's something that's really funny. Here in the United States Congress, it's just sometimes you have conversations with people that readily admit using drugs. But if you go to communities that are poor, if you go to communities with color, clearly this is not a laughing matter. You see that these are the communities where people are getting arrested at rates tragically higher than other communities. In fact, just on looking at race in our country, if you're African American, you have no difference than using drugs or even selling drugs. There's no difference between blacks and whites in our country. But tragically, in this country, if you're African American, you're going to be arrested for using drugs almost 4 times more so than someone that's white. I've seen that in my communities where people are churned into the criminal justice system, tagged with charges for nonviolent drug use, with using marijuana, in a nation where our lawmakers and our legislators have been using drugs. Some studies have shown up to about 50% of adults in America have tried marijuana. Look, I have seen children, young teenagers, getting arrested, saddled with criminal convictions for the rest of their lives for doing things more minor in terms of drug use than 2 of our last 3 presidents admitted to doing. And so this rank hypocrisy in our country, that is actually not even the driving force behind this bill. The reason why I'm introducing this legislation, which I'll describe in a moment, is because of the devastating impact it's had on our nation. It's not just the wasted taxpayer dollars, but if you just look at marijuana, and please understand that a study by the ACLU between 2001 and 2010, looking at 8 million arrests for drugs, they saw that 88% of them were people being arrested for possession, overwhelmingly for marijuana. So understand what happens to a person when they're arrested for marijuana, when they're convicted for that charge, when they get a felony conviction. What that means is they have, as according to the American Bar Association, about 40,000 so-called collateral consequences. This is what you know. It's so hard to find a job. You can't get business licenses. You can't get Pell Grants. You can't get public housing or even food stamps. So many things are cut off to you. Now imagine if those arrests are overwhelmingly concentrated in certain communities, where you have the churning in of the poor people in those communities, or the minority folks, or disproportionately large numbers of the black men in that community have been arrested for doing things that if you went to a college campus and really did the police work, you'd find that large numbers of those folks are doing those drugs. Well, what you do is you severely impact those communities economically. You create crises within families as people are being separated from their children. You hurt their long-term economic potential, so much so that there has been one study that I saw from a university that if we had incarceration rates just like our international peers, we would have probably about 20% less poverty in this country. And so when you see these marijuana arrests happening so much in our country, targeting certain communities, poor communities, minority communities, targeting people with illness, targeting disproportionately our veterans, you see the injustice of it all. And then you see what's starting to happen around this country right now. 8 states and the District of Columbia have moved to legalize marijuana. And now, having months and months of evidence, these states are seeing decreases in violent crime in their states. They're seeing actually increases in revenue to their states. They're seeing their police forces being able to focus their time, energy, and resources in focusing on serious crime. They're actually seeing positive things coming out of that experience. Now, I believe the federal government should get out of the illegal marijuana business. And it disturbs me right now that Attorney General Jeff Sessions is not moving as the states are, moving as public opinion is, but actually saying that we should be doubling down and enforcing federal marijuana laws even in states that have made marijuana legal. This to me is outrageous and unacceptable. So given the crisis, given the racial impact of marijuana enforcement, given the punishing of poor people through marijuana enforcement, given the challenges that people with mental illnesses or our veterans are experiencing through the criminal justice system and disproportionately targeting them with marijuana enforcement. We must do better. And so my bill does a number of things. First and foremost, it deschedules marijuana from the list of controlled substances, thus making it no longer illegal in federal law. That to me is a very important step, but it is just a beginning. The next thing it does is retroactively expunges people who have been convicted for use and possession of marijuana. Remember, these are charges that follow people for the rest of their lives, making it difficult for them to do things that we take for granted, like applying for a taxi cab license, something you can't get in many states, even if your marijuana conviction was 10, 20, 30 years ago. Or people who can't vote in some states because of their federal marijuana charge. And so it also actually creates not only a retroactive expungement, but for people that are in prison right now for marijuana-related charges, it gives them an avenue to appeal to the courts to have their sentences reduced or eliminated. And then finally, because of the punishing of poor people, the wildly disproportionate effect on communities of color, often poor communities themselves, we create incentives for states, an incentive pool for states to change their laws, to stop continuing by enforcing the law in such an unjust manner. We believe that states should be moving in the same way, to legalize marijuana, to end racial disparities in enforcement of marijuana laws, and frankly, to end the disproportionate targeting of poor people. So this bill does a number of things that are critical. It creates not only incentives, but finally, the fourth thing I want you to know about the bill, it creates a community reinvestment fund so that communities who have been disproportionately impacted for decades by marijuana laws, who have been devastated by marijuana laws and their unjust application, that they can apply for community reinvestment funds that would help with a number of things. That could help with job training, reentry services, expenses related to expungement of convictions, but also investing in things like public libraries and community centers and programs that are dedicated to youth. You see, it's not enough just to say, hey, marijuana is going to be illegal, let's move forward. We're going to be legalized, let's move forward. This has done serious damage to our communities. It's done serious damage to American families. And we need to make sure that we are not only making it legal on the federal level, not only moving states to do the same, but to start targeting on not only ending the racial disparities in incarceration and the targeting of poor people, but trying to do what I call restorative justice, finding ways to take communities that have been disproportionately impacted and helping them to heal, helping them to recover from what has been the unjust application of the law. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I'm going to actually now take some questions on Facebook Live. I'm going to take one first from Derek Rosenwig. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. Derek simply says, thank you for introducing this bill. How many co-sponsors do you have thus far? Derek, you could help me because right now I have no co-sponsors, but I haven't really pushed hard to get them. My hope now is that I can get people to sign on to this legislation and that you, the voice of others, can help encourage people to do so. It is crazy for the federal government to be behind the states, and now with Jeff Sessions threatening the states who've already moved to legalize marijuana. I'm hoping that we can get a bipartisan support for the descheduling of marijuana and frankly for the incentivizing of states looking to heal states and to help people that still are struggling 5-10 years after their marijuana-related charge, who are struggling to get a job, and every time they have to apply, they have to check a box they literally have to check a box confessing to being caught for using marijuana, while their legislator might have used marijuana, might have joked about using marijuana. There's no consequences. That hypocrisy has to stop. So you need to help us with that. Linda Martin says we need schools, not prison. Linda, it goes further than that. Most Americans don't know that from the time I was in law school around the mid-1990s to the time I was mayor of the city of Newark around 2006, we were building a new prison every 10 days. Think about this for a second. We had our infrastructure crumbling, roads, bridges, railways. All infrastructure in this country was crumbling. And I know how hard in New Jersey it was to get money just to try to build and repair schools. We have schools in New Jersey from Camden to Newark that have lead in their water, just the pipes infrastructure, fixing that. I just came from a hearing trying to get more resources for cleaning up Superfund sites. These are toxic sites that are poisoning communities. So while we were letting all of these things, these things that are urgently needed going unfunded, we found the hundreds of billions of dollars to build out our prison infrastructure. While the rest of the planet Earth was looking at us and thinking to themselves, wow, okay, you guys go ahead, build all those prisons. We're going to make our trains faster than yours. We're going to make our public schools better. We're going to get universal preschool for our kids. Our economically competitive nations are saying we're going to make our ports more efficient than yours. But you guys go ahead, use your infrastructure dollars to build out prisons. And by the way, this is something most people don't know. We were actually cutting federal funding and investment dramatically, over 70%, to fund local police departments. I felt that in Newark, just trying to get more cops on the streets to protect against serious violent crime. We were cutting that while we were increasing federal funding for prisons over 40%. And this is what folks don't understand. I'm sorry, because I want to get some of them other questions, is we can look back in history and see the consequences for prohibition of something like marijuana, which, having run a police department, been a mayor overseeing a police department, we had so many more calls about alcohol-related issues, alcohol-related violence, alcohol-related, from drunk driving to domestic abuse to other serious violence fueled by alcohol. And what gets me is we've legalized alcohol, but we had a time where it wasn't. And prohibition, we saw what happened. The proliferation of gangs, the proliferation of violence and murder, all that was surrounding this system of making alcohol prohibition, and the hypocrisy was there then as well. You had people in Congress with hidden little cabinets for their alcohol. So if you were connected or elected, you could overcome the prohibition. Well, it's the same thing now. We've made marijuana illegal. You see a lot of violence associated with that marijuana. Look at the states that have made it legal and what's happening to their violent crime rates. Yet the privileged people, and I saw this at Stanford and at Yale, people can just smoke marijuana with cavalier disregard to the law, no concern with being caught, no concern that they might leave and have to get pulled over by a police officer or stopped and frisked when they're walking home. And so this is such bad policy if you're trying to make cities and communities safer. It is bad policy if you're trying to get more money to invest in public safety, get more money to invest in the investigation of serious crime. It is bad policy if you're trying to reduce serious crime. I'm going to continue to go on. This is a person whose name, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Charisma, great first name, Charisma Kysh, K-Y-S-H, writes, I hope we can eliminate this and take marijuana off employment drug testing, among other things. Hey, I've seen that actually in my own life with people I know, that they're going to do a job. One friend goes to the job, has had a serious drinking that weekend. The other one smoked a little bit of marijuana, and they get dinged at work and lose their job, and their families suffer. Okay. This is from Roger Anders. Have you spoken with a good number of your GOP colleagues? That is the key to getting it passed. You know that. This is what I've been about since I've been a senator, always trying to find bipartisan support. And I've gotten some good bipartisan support in the past on a lot of my criminal justice reform bills. I will be reaching out to Republican offices, and I'm hoping that I'll get some partnership there. Cody James writes, Corey, you're so right, and I'm proud of you for submitting this bill. Thank you, Cody. We need to get bipartisan support. Folks know how it works down here. You can't do things in a democratic way and hope to get bills passed when Mitch McConnell controls the Senate floor and the House is controlled by Paul Ryan, and the House control the House of Representatives. You got to get bipartisan support, and I'll be working to do that. But I hope that you'll help me. You know what? I know this is one of those issues. It's not a matter of when we end the prohibition of marijuana. If we end the prohibition of marijuana, it's definitely a time when. So please help me make that time sooner. Make that time now. Sam Berzok, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. Berzok. I don't think this will pass, but breaking down the stigma cannot be understated. Thank you for your courage, Senator Booker. And I agree with you. That's how things start. I don't agree with you that it won't pass. We're going to pass this bill at some point, but I think the first step is breaking down the stigma, is changing the national conversation. And I really want to applaud bipartisan legislatures who have approved medical marijuana bills and approved legalization bills. It is important that we start breaking down the stigma, and I'm hoping that more U.S. senators, more Congress people will be talking not just about descheduling, but we'll address the disparities of who marijuana laws have affected. Disproportionately poor people, disproportionately people of color. And I keep mentioning veterans because I just sat down with a group of veterans in the southern part of my state yesterday and had them appealing to me to try to help veterans who are disproportionately swept up into our jails, often trying to use marijuana for health reasons, to help with their post-traumatic stress. And we're criminalizing them for doing what they believe can help them with their depression or their post-traumatic stress. And so what do we do to these men and women who fought for us, who were hurt by us, maybe not with physical wounds, because of their service, maybe not physical wounds, but mental wounds? We're criminalizing them. Okay. Is from Chantico Alaman. I hope
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to tonight's live episode of the one and only The Marijualogist, the only show that gets to the very root of the medical cannabis movement throughout California and the globe. I'm your humble host, Richard Karr. If I can get me on camera. Yep, there I go. Hi, Ma. Hi, Dad. We've got our esteemed colleague and co-host, of course, Ikkor the Wolf, with a mouthful of food.
Oh, stuff in his grill.
Yeah, stuff in his grill. And we've got some special secret guests in the studio tonight as well. So welcome back to the show. We're in open forum tonight, so we're very relaxed and laid back. And just before we came back live, the wise and sageful words from New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker, who says marijuana should be legal in America. I agree with him. And I don't know who would disagree with me. It's hard to imagine that that's possible. But, we live in a society where people don't quite get the whole marijuana thing, and folks are still kind of hung up about how the whole marijuana thing is going to work. And they're still also hung up about the notion that this is a Schedule I drug, when in fact you realize that cocaine is Schedule II.
Wow.
Very, very, very difficult to reconcile those two ideas, but as we do here on The Marijualogist, we explore it. That's all we do. We are not experts. We're not doctors, but we are patients, advocates, and students. That's thus the term, The Marijualogist. It's all about the study of the social, political, economic, ecological, and medical impact of cannabis on California and the entire world. Half the country or more has said yes to safe and legal access to cannabis. Many of those states, did I say half the countries? Half the states in America have said yes to legal access to cannabis. And many of those states are doing quite well in terms of the taxation and regulation of cannabis, all the jobs that have been created, all of the tax revenue that's been generated. Some states are still waiting for it. I watch documentaries about this industry, this movement all the time. I get it. You might not be there yet, but you're bound to be there. You're bound to be there because the fact of the matter is that cannabis sells when cotton don't. I've been saying that for years. In the meantime and in between time, I want to acknowledge my good friend and co-host, as always, Ikkor the Wolf. Once
What
again,
up, though?
stuffing his grill. I haven't even put him on mic yet, or on camera yet, because he's just over there like a hungry like the wolf tonight. I don't
Hungry like the wolf.
understand. Yeah, you got to start eating, man. You know,
Yep.
throughout the day, you can't just run around and not do the eat thing, man. That's not a good thing.
I had breakfast.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. In the meantime, thanks to our good friend, Terry Bowles, a.k.a. We'll leave Terry Bowles. He's brought in for us tonight a little pamphlet called Cannabis FAQ, F-A-Q, Frequently Asked Questions, from an organization, Legally Blunt, a.k.a. a Mansouri Law publication. The Mansouri Law Firm provides this to us by way of Terry. And let's give a shout out to these guys. They're a firm of veteran California attorneys, and they state that compliance is the key to success and protecting your business. They offer several different Q&As. Great pamphlet. I got to tell you, it looks really good on the in person, and there it is on camera. Yeah, let me show that. Wow. If they don't mind, I'm going to show at least a glimpse of the people who are the managers and directors there. And, good stuff, good information. And hopefully our goal is to feature them a little later on in the future to talk about the medical cannabis business. They offer medical cannabis business basics before licensure. That's important. Cannabis business licenses, licensing types. The list goes on. These guys, these ladies, guys and gals, are fully abreast of the industry. Is your event legal? They even get down to the events aspect of cannabis. So if you're having a cannabis event, these are a
That
group
is good
of
to know. That's beautiful.
men and women, mostly women as far as I can see from their pamphlet here, who can give you the insight on how to keep it legal and not get your doors kicked in and get your clients and your attendees, if you're doing an event, busted. Is cannabis being sold at the event? Yes, it is being sold at the premises of a licensed retailer or micro business. If the answer is no, is the event being held at a public or private place? If that is yes, is there going to be on-site consumption? If that is yes, you need a temporary state permit. The business is going to become very complicated, folks. We need to understand that. We need to understand that this business is about to go into hyper mode here in 2018, right here in Los Angeles, California, our own backyards, if you live here. And you're about to see, one would imagine, cannabis dispensaries popping up on every street corner. Lots of people are going to want to get involved. Lots of them are going to think it's as easy as opening up a candy store. None of that's true or real. You need to do your research. Shouts once again to Mansouri Law, the Mansouri Law Firm, and for their publication, Cannabis FAQ. We're going to be featuring those ladies and gentlemen on our show in the very near future, if that's possible. But all that said, welcome back to the show. It's the Marijualogist, the world's only show, explores the global impact of cannabis. I'm Richard Karr, your humble host. Joining me, finally, after cleaning his palate, Ikkor the Wolf. Hit us with that Rick Ross thing. And I've been noticing we have a special guest in our studios tonight.
Still munching?
Yeah, still munching. His name is Dark Knight.
Oh, that's
Yeah, no. Dark Knight's here with us as well, and he's been waving across the table at me like, no, don't say this. No, don't say that. I don't know what to say or what not to say. So your mic's hot if you want to say something and clarify anything I said.
Smoke some.
Smoke something. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that'll work. That works. Smoke something.
You said something very
there.
important earlier
Please do tell me.
when you were speaking about
My goal is to always say something important.
no,
on this show.
the different levels of how the laws and stuff are changing.
Right.
And
Shit's real. About to
Yeah.
get really real.
yeah, but you were speaking, and I kind of slipped my mind the aspect all the way what you was talking about. But
About events. If you're doing
yes,
an event, even.
that right there.
Yeah. Because you
That's
just
very-
come off your first successful
Exactly.
event.
And that's good to know. That's good for everybody that's running an event, because the way ours was set up, there was a dispensary there. We weren't allowed to sell any cannabis on our premise. On the outside at the event, because by law they go into the collective and donate and purchase their flowers in there. But we did have product out there on the same grounds, because it's still the grounds of a dispensary.
This is a really nicely done brochure. It's a quick read. It's straight to the point. It's called Cannabis FAQ. Again, provided to us by
Frequently
Legally
Asked Questions.
Blunt, a Missouri law publication. Yeah, and I'll get to that segment, that section of the pamphlet. It's very quick read.
And Rich, real quick, and by you saying that, that's almost like an insurance that's going to have to probably be placed in place. When they're doing these events, outside of the insurance that it is for
A regular show?
That's the events page. I'll read from it. Having events in California where cannabis is consumed may be the most confusing aspect of this new era. And in this, they've created a guide to give you some idea. If you're sponsoring a cannabis event, particularly if you're new to the industry, there are going to be a lot of corporate professionals who come into this business who don't know the legalities, and not just the legalities, the etiquette of the industry. There's lots of respect due in this industry. I heard today, for the first time, and I'm sure I'm way behind the news on this.
What's that?
That Damian Marley owns several collectives, and we're going to be reaching out to that Damian Marley collective. I won't reveal the name. I don't quite know for sure.
But it's here in California, Southern California.
Damian Marley, the oldest son of Bob Marley.
Wow.
Bob Nestor
I mean, it's
Marley,
only
RIP.
right. It's only right.
Only
man.
right.
They have one. Only right.
Yeah, man. To do that, man. So we're going to be reaching out to these kind of folks, but it's important for people to understand that in 2018, once cannabis goes legal, it doesn't mean that you can just go, wild, wild west into.
You're going to have
this
to have
industry.
license for a lot of
Speak
different
on it.
tiers. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to have
It's a whole nother industry.
You're going to have to exactly.
Man.
You're going to have so many different levels of. I'm talking about from your testing to from
Well,
seed to sale.
There is a listing of
Think about it in terms of
licensing
tracking,
type.
but think about it in terms of like a Ford corporation. It's going to be somebody that makes the tire.
Exactly.
It's
The
going to
radios.
be
Everything.
It's going to
the
be
carpets.
Everything.
You see, count those licenses
upholstery.
that you have
But-
to have just to be in the cannabis
But
industry.
each-
How many licenses do they offer?
I can
12?
run them down real quick.
13?
It's like 16,
Cultivation,
maybe more than that.
specialty outdoor, small. Cultivation, specialty outdoor, small. Once again, there are cultivation licensings that are going to be issued from small to medium, and again, that runs from nursery to micro business.
That's what I was getting ready to speak
Yeah.
on, because you have different levels. Like you can read the pamphlet, and it has different levels where
And
you have to find
sub-levels.
you have and sub levels where you have to figure out where do you fall in those levels, those
Delivery and
categories, those tiers.
packaging, distribution and transportation, consumer level products. All of these things are going to play into
Testing.
cultivation, general.
That's important. Testing.
Testing
I was
and
on
all
the phone.
those things,
I was
yeah.
on the phone with one of our guests today, Daniel Hobson. Shout out to Daniel Hobson.
Mm-hmm.
And we're speaking about testing, but he's created this new app that's incredible, and it's designed for the delivery drivers. But it's beautiful, and and it's set up for the delivery drivers and dispensaries and.
I'm glad you mentioned drivers. I'm at the last page of this pamphlet, And I think this is so well put together because it says at the last page, know your rights. 3 amendments
Show you right.
for protecting your rights. 4th Amendment, the right against unlawful search and seizure. Right? 5th Amendment, right to remain silent. 6th Amendment, right to representation and counsel. Those are 3 of the most important rights if you ever get pulled over by LEA, law enforcement, and you are carrying your medicine. Most important, you have the
cannot
right
search.
to resist unlawful search and seizure.
You said you what? You do not have the right?
You have the right.
Oh, I was going to say. I was going to say what?
To resist
Yes, you do.
unlawful search and
Yes, you do.
seizure. Now, that don't mean resist like you're going to stand up and start fighting.
No,
Just
you
say
have-
no.
You want to get
You
on that
have-
mic? You want to say something? Pull up to that mic.
You have your word.
Pull
You
up
have
to the microphone,
you have to
baby.
know your wording.
No, yeah, pull up to that microphone.
Yeah.
Put your headphones on.
They evoke Nancy
saying is
Reagan.
that-
Just say no.
Talking your mic.
Oh, right here.
You're right there. Yeah. Put your headphones on as well. You also have the 5th Amendment, which gives you the right to remain silent. You should. And of course, you have the Sixth Amendment, which is the right to representation by
attorney.
counsel.
Yep.
Right to an attorney, exactly. And this is the last page of this document. I really think this is a really great document. We got to get these people on. And again,
What's the name
you
again?
can say
The
it.
cannabis
It's,
fact?
Yeah, Missouri law.
Cannabis FAQ, the Mansouri Law Firm, and we want to thank Dark Knight
Mansouri
for bringing
candidate?
them on. Yeah, Mansouri, and Mansouri Law. I would imagine
think this one.
MansouriLaw.com. It is
Patel, Missouri?
MansouriLaw.com. Yeah,
How do they spell that Mansouri? Is that
Alexa?
MANZURI.
Alexa
Oh,
Steinberg. Someone?
So if you get busted, you got some herb on you. Maybe Mansouri Law at MansouriLaw.com is the answer for you. But if you are in your car and you are driving and you are smoking, you are under the influence. So there won't be a lot of lawyers who are going to protect you from that incrimination. You cannot smoke or should not. You can do whatever you want to do. We're
like-
not here to mandate.
He's like, Your Honor, like, man, like, come on, man.
I had to hit
he's
this
like,
blunt,
no, he's like, man.
I just picked this up off the homie, man.
He's like, no, he's like, man,
No,
man.
don't
He's
do
like,
it.
Your Honor, man, Zerdy
do
had some little trees, but it's okay. Man, Zerdy, he had some little trees. Man, Zerdy, you get it?
Yeah.
They,
I get it.
they
Man,
say
Zerdy had little trees, but let him go.
they say the test is coming July 1st.
What
next
test?
Year. The you just smoke test.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's
Be
that-
careful.
that's
That's
right.
that DUI
That's
test.
that the SUI, smoking while under the influence, or SWI.
But as before, you should always have to draw the blood, and you can refuse or get it thrown out in court, fight to the Supreme Court. But now, if you have to blow,
And let's
Don't
just
blow.
make it clear as a
Don't blow.
position
Don't blow.
No one,
on
no
this
blow.
show
No one blow.
that I would
still a
suggest to
DUI.
anybody out
Still
there,
a DUI.
you don't want to smoke and drive. You
Yeah.
don't want
No,
to
no,
use any narcotics or any mind-altering substances
Your
and,
marijuana supposed
and
to be
operate heavy equipment.
You're supposed
and
to
that
carry
means
your
don't,
marijuana.
You know, yeah,
in the trunk.
right, exactly,
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the trunk, not the glove compartment, not the ashtray.
Nope.
The trunk.
right.
It's
Good point.
trunk.
So we want to encourage.
And it should be locked up
Locked
as
up.
well with the lock
Yep.
on there as well.
And while you're transporting it, unless you're a distributor or somebody working at
You
that
put
level,
right, you put it in a lock.
hey, to law enforcement out there, you might see more of this because it is a holiday season. The demand will spike. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. We're coming up on Christmas. We're coming up on New Year's.
Coming up on every day.
Hey, law enforcement, that part. Law enforcement, don't overreact. Don't get on this ridiculous recuse Jeff Sessions bullshit
Don't
Right.
trip.
and start locking up a lot of
That should be
people.
the new campaign. Don't trip.
Don't trip. And that's for law
Hashtag
enforcement.
that. Hashtag don't trip.
Yeah, don't act out.
don't
And
trip.
and to our tuners out there who are advocates and patients in particular, don't smoke and drive. You know, the Uber thing and the Lyft thing, it's just too easy to avoid the hassles. And you just don't want it. And DUI is driving under the influence,
Metro.
you know? Yeah, exactly.
Man,
Then there's
Uber,
Metro.
Lyft. I mean,
Shout
your
to
friend, the
Metro.
homie.
Yeah.
The, you know, it's the
homie.
designated driver. You know,
Somebody.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't need to do it. So let's just put that out there right at the beginning, at the top of November, to let our tuners out there know. No smoking, vaping, dabbing, none of that stuff's legal to do that and drive.
Nope.
Let's make that very clear.
Be
And
responsible. Just be very responsible.
users and patients have to be as responsible as our alcohol
Exactly.
users. We're
drinkers.
adults now, and we're coming into an adult era of cannabis
So
consumption.
basically, they're saying, listen, if we're going to give you guys this, you got to do, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
be on this right here.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not, they're not asking for much. So people out there, when it gets all the way legal and everything, don't go crazy and out there just be having it all in your ears and walking down the block and just smoking anywhere, because it's still not designed for that.
Right.
Still have some respect for the law. Still have some respect for yourself, your parents, and all that.
1,000 feet from schools.
You're a reflection of who your family, your people, and yourself, for one. So just be respectful about it and have class about it. And let's not give the law enforcement any more than they should have to want to be against us out here. We're already against anyway, so just be right about
And
it.
quite often on the show, we play a song from Ninja Man called Legalize the Herb. And it talks about once herb is legalized, we're not going to act up and smoke in public and act ignorant and light up a J and,
Blow it
inhale
in somebody's face.
blow it in the
Right.
cop's
In the
face
cop's
and all
face.
that kind
Actually,
of
wanna
stuff.
hit
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You wanna hit it,
We're not
man?
going to do that. Not the responsible adults in society
What
who
you-
have worked long and hard to make this a cause
for this day.
But see,
and for this day.
But see,
from
we got to
January
also
1,
remember this too,
2018.
because we still kind of speaking from a halfway or maybe not even halfway standpoint.
You're right.
Because we're so beyond just the smoking of it. That's just probably an eyelash or a tip of the fingernail aspect of it at this point now. Because the
pain.
medicinal aspect of it now.
It's so
We
great.
beyond all that. We fighting against the medical societies and the pharmaceutical companies and all that. You know what I mean?
Well, when you say the medicinal side, I gather you're going to speak to the fact that there are
From the
patients
oils,
out
CBD,
there
from the
CBD.
oils.
and who may,
The
you know,
CBD.
utilize or take advantage of
oils, the tinctures,
extracts, sublinguals, capsules, edibles,
Vaping.
aka medibles, vaping. There's so many ways, and the flower. I said this, and I got a little flack on it, but the flower inevitably, which is like cotton, but you're not gonna go like I can make some jeans. You're more likely to go buy raw denim than you are to go out to pick cotton and convert that to raw denim.
Right.
So the same thing applies when it comes to cannabis, right? You're not about to really
Go pick your
own
weed
cannabis, and there's not a lot of people who want to extract that out. But those extracts are very potent, and when you get those extracts, you got to understand they're more potent than just flower. And I really believe the industry is moving towards more of the extract, because the fact of the matter is, inhaling any burnt plant matter is, counterproductive to health. So you should not be smoking flower. I think the reason that the tinctures and extracts have become so popular nowadays is part of that movement. People are beginning to understand. I don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't want to smoke burnt plant matter at all. Oh, you got a vaporizer? Let me hit that.
Well, we speaking about that last night.
we
You know
talked about those.
how liberating
I love the
it
vape.
is for you.
It's
You know what I mean?
beautiful.
Like,
Yeah.
I love the vape.
and I was
think that's
speaking to
the next
somebody the other
great
day. I forgot who it was. It was a lady or somebody I was speaking to, and I was like, "Look how far we've come. When we able to just do this on this level now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the vapes and stuff. They didn't have that way back in the day. We are. Look where we are. It's
Without
beautiful to still be
interfering with
living.
anybody else who's breathing. And I think
It's
that's
beautiful
critical.
to be living still, man.
You know what I mean? And when you can engage and enjoy and ingest cannabis without interfering with someone else's breathing,
Right.
that's what it's really all about at the very root and culture
Yeah.
of cannabis as a sacrament.
Because it's what? It's what?
Just a little herb.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
We'll be
man.
right back, y'all. We'll take a quick break on the Marijualogist. We with your boy Richard Karr, Ikkor the Wolf, Dark Knight, and my man Chuck from the D in the building. You keep off camera right now, but he's a silent partner over there. You dig? We'll be right back, y'all. LATalkLive.com, Marijualogist, Fridays, 420.
I'll rave all night long. I've got time for feeling good. me senses. It's just a little herb. It's just a little herb stop. It's just a little herb stop. I've been saving. They gave me no chance. Oh, was I left for dance? They stopped me and searched me and asked me why, as if smoking is a crime. It's just a little herb, whoa, just a little herb stop. It's just a little herb stop. I've been saving. He asked that man my name, how old and my address. He asked me if I knew I had something that I shouldn't. He turned my pockets out. He turned them inside over. And then it fell onto the floor. My little herb store. Officer, it's just a little herb. Oh yeah, it's just a little herb store. It's just a little herb store. I've been saving. Ooh, just a little herb. It's just a little herb store. It's just a little herb store. I've been saving. That I've been saving. That I've been saving. All night, alright. Smoke with my brethren and feel alright. Oh, now I've been saving. I've been saving.
Waking up in the morning with a hangover, cause I don't think I ever went one day sober. I wake and bake in the morning like a straight soldier, and blaze doja till my brain's in a straight coma. I treat it like it's a race in the Daytona, and feel like how you feel when you take 8 somas. I smoke a blunt to a roach and I'm still smoking, riding this bitch till the fucking wheels broken. There's no puff puff, it's just puff pass, cause if I puff, I'm handing you just that. That's how it's been ever since I was 18. I pack up another fresh bow and take greens. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it, cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fix the smoke. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt, slow. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls, smooth. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt, slow. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls, smooth. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. I hope you ready, cause we smoke like there's no tomorrow. Bumping oldies, hot box in a Monte Carlo. I take a hit from the split, say goodbye to sorrow. Blazing cigarros, get high like I'm Dave Navarro. Cause when it comes to smoking weed, I'm a general. You talking about smoking blunts, I smoke 10 of those. And break down a 50 bag of kush and a bowl. I smoke that kush you only find in high time centerfold. I'll be smoking on that skunky shit with a kid. You feel like you just got hit by a monkey with a braid. The room's filled up with so much smoke it blows the roof off. Cause I smoke like trains, I smoke like I'm Snoop Dogg. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it. Cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fix the smoke. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt, smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls, smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt, smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, blunt, hot box in the car, got me open and stuck. I lit the cherry up like I turned the flare on and share crime. Smoke it up out of my honey bear bong. I take a hit on the hour every hour for at least an hour. Unleash the power of the green reefer flower. I keep smoking even though there's no getting higher. Firefighters approach us cause they think my shit's on fire. I smoke a couple bags with you with some hash and goo. And smoke like the weekend on a Sunday afternoon. It don't stop 24/7 smoking some dro pot. Cause I smoke just like mechanical robots. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it. Cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fix the smoke. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
What up, though? This is your man, Ikkor the Wolf, inviting you to join me every first Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Wolf's Den at LATalkLive.com. Now, join me as I spotlight some of the hottest talent of all genres of music. So don't forget to tune in every first Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, exclusively on LATalkLive.com and the AmericaTalkLive.com broadcast network. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk. Get it?
Want to enrich in your radio listening? Do it now with the new WDC radio show, LA Talk Live's new talk, rock radio show, Saturdays 4 p.m. Pacific, filled with news, talk, sports, entertainment, and more. Tune in as we fill your weekend with rock and funk from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. WDC radio show. Listen as we kick off the new generation of radio with talk, rock, and funk. The all-new WDC radio show, Saturdays 4 p.m. Pacific on LA Talk Live.
We're calling you out.
Sickle cell warriors, leaders, doctors, and caregivers.
This is The Call.
Tune in to The Call, Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, only on LA Talk Live.
This is The Call.
To sickle cell trait awareness.
This is The Call.
To acceptance of yourself and others around you.
This is The Call.
To finding your purpose through creativity.
This is The Call.
To living above sickle cell.
This is the call to unity in community.
So call in 323-473-3100 to
The Call.
Saturdays 5 p.m. Pacific, only on LA Talk Live.
This is The Call.
Oh, yeah, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, you're tastefully tuned to the musical interlude on the Marijualogist. Enjoy this, the 420 infused musical moment, sponsored by Green Crosses.
Sun's peeking through my curtain. Gotta get up out of bed. It's a wake and bacon Monday. Early morning, change your head. I reach over for my blood stash. I pop open the vial. I reach into my vial. There's nothing there in my vial. I'm contemplating, was I high and smoked up on my shit? Then was I stoned and smoked it all without not knowing it? I hop up quick, I sit and think. 1 blunt, 2 blunts, or was it 3? Can't remember if I smoked it all with company. Gotta admit the memory ain't nothing what it used to be. Oh well, that's me, I need some weed. Can't hit the shop, it's too early. Oh, why did I you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up? Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up? up and not leave enough.
If an emergency happened or something like that, the only thing I'm packing is food in a sack. Cause it's mandatory that I gotta be stoned. Like Ice Cube said, once again it's on. It's a fucked up feeling when you're California fiending. If you smoke blood, you know exactly what I'm meaning. Open up your jar when you trip cause it's empty. But the night before you could've swore you had plenty. With no connects and don't know what to do. So you try to drink a 40 as a substitute. But it doesn't feel the same as that Mary Jane. Creeping up real slow, marinating my brain. And I've been at the bottom feeling just like a peasant. Saving all my roaches and scraping up my resin. I smoke so much weed that I sweat THC. A day without herb, I can never let it be.
Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up? Oh, why did I smoke you up and not leave enough? Oh, I was alright as ketones. Damn, it must have slipped my head. Instead of packing like a pack rat, I was packing like a fat cat instead. Can't believe I did it once again. A fucked up habit that I got. I always do it to myself. I'm always smoking on my pot. I got no options, I could call a weedman from the streets. But it's a Monday and it's 6 a.m. before his peak. That's fucking weak, I need some weed. A long morning, THC free. I can't believe I got no marijuana for my brain. I always do this cause I need a blunt's my fucking name. I need to go at 10 a.m. I pull up to the front, guess what? They're open. Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up? Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up and not leave enough? Smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up. Smoke you up, smoke you up and not leave enough.
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Waking up in the morning with a hangover, cause I don't think I ever went one day sober. I wake and bake in the morning like a straight soldier, and blaze doja till my brain's in a straight coma. I treat it like it's a race in the Daytona, and feel like how you feel when you take 8 somas. I smoke a blunt to a roach and I'm still smoking, riding this bitch till the fucking wheels broken. There's no puff puff, it's just puff pass, cause if I puff puff, I'm handing you just that. That's how it's been ever since I was 18. I pack up another fresh bow and take greens. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it, cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fix the smoke. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. I hope you ready, cause we smoke like there's no tomorrow. Bumping oldies, hot box in a Monte Carlo. I take a hit from the split, say goodbye to sorrow. Blazing cigarros, get high like I'm Dave Navarro. Cause when it comes to smoking weed, I'm a general. You talking about smoking blunts, I smoke 10 of those. And break down a 50 bag of kush in a bowl. I smoke that kush you only find in high time centerfold. I'll be smoking on that skunky shit with a kid. You feel like you just got hit by a monkey with a braid. The room's filled up with so much smoke it blows the roof off. Cause I smoke like trains, I smoke like I'm Snoop Dogg. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it. Cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fix the smoke. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. down the street, smoking a blunt, hot box in the car, got me open and stuck. I lit the cherry up like I turned a flare on and share crime, smoke it up out of my honey bear bong. I take a hit on the hour every hour for at least an hour, unleash the power of the green reaper flower. I keep smoking even though there's no getting higher. Firefighters approach us cause they think my shit's on fire. I smoke a couple bags with you with some hash and glue, and smoke like the weekend on a Sunday afternoon. It don't stop 24/7 smoking some dro pot, cause I smoke just like mechanical robot. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it, cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fix the smoke. 1 blunt, 3
This
blunt, 5 blunt, smoke.
cannabis-infused musical moment inspired by, and in fact sponsored by, our good friends at Green Crosses Tees and Apparel. For more information,
Contact Ikkor at latalklive.com. That's IKKOR at latalklive.com. Or you can hit me at Ikkor Instagram, IKKOR. Just hit me. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Ikkor, IKKOR.
get with the program, man. Look at the apparel tonight. You got tees and shirts and hats and everything going on.
You dig?
Shouts to Wardrobe for hooking y'all up. Mine was dirty this week. I could not get down with you. And we came back from that cannabis-infused musical moment with music from such artists as Big Blizz. That was Marijuana Love. And, of course, one of our favorites, Smoke You Up, the 2011 version from Anita Blunt. In the meantime, and in between time, welcome back to The Marijualogist, the world's only show that explores the global impact of cannabis throughout California and the world. I'm your host, Richard Karr, joined by my esteemed colleague, Ikkor the Wolf. Ow. You might know him from the shows.
This is harmony on that howl. That was a harmonized howl.
I could get a job on a show singing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because everybody tells me
I'm giving out deals right now. I'm giving out deals right now.
You got deals?
Giving out, you know how they hold on, put on my Hollywood glasses.
Giving out deals and opportunities?
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Sounds like, hey, spec my name. You spec my name
Spec
up
on
here.
it, man. Spec on that,
Spec
man.
my name. That ain't had nothing to do with what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about doing deals and act like I'm a big baller. But then I started talking about spec my name in here, man.
I don't know where that came from.
But that's what I'm saying. That's how they get down in the industry.
And that's how you feel.
That's how bipolar they are out there.
That's kind of how you feeling right
That's
now.
how bipolar they are out
Let's
there.
keep it real. That's kind of how you feeling right now, right?
Spec my name right now.
Put some spec on it.
Right, put some spec on my name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Ikkor the Wolf, first Fridays every month, 8 p.m. Pacific, right here on the world leader in internet broadcast, LA Talk Live, and the America Talk Live Broadcast Network, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You got to check that out, 8 p.m.
Yo, I got some incredible artists.
Incredible artist showcase.
Last week was nice, but I got
What's off the
I got some more incredible artists
Tell us
coming
about
up
it.
next month, man. I went out and scouted last night.
Uh-oh.
And I went to one.
You went to a showcase. You invited me out. I
Exactly.
didn't go.
I wish you would have went. You would have loved this.
I turned it
I
down.
went to one showcase
Turn up
last
for what?
night, and I gathered all my artists for the next Wolf's Den showcase.
No.
Right there.
Really?
Right there.
Wow.
And one of them is we're gonna do a James Brown, like a tribute to a James Brown type of night. Because I'm going to have some of James Brown's original members performing that night on the Wolf's Den.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So we're gonna do a James Brown tribute night. It's gonna just be that whole crew, crew of the people that I met last night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Get on that. Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
What day is that coming, man? No need for that. What day is that coming?
I got something. It's coming up. That's December 1st.
Wow.
December 1st.
First Friday.
First Friday, December 1st, man.
And
It's that
December
Christi-
1 is First Friday.
December 1 is First Friday.
41.
It's a Christmas. It's a Christmas month. A Christmas show.
And what you want to tell them? Watch me.
Watch me.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't believe me? Just watch me. I'm super bad. The party people say.
Enough of that. Enough that now. Enough that. You want some more? You want some more? Go ahead.
Why they like this? Back in the day.
Do them feet.
Hello.
That was
hard
a feeling,
ass
man.
neck.
That was a feeling.
Hard neck. They have to want to break after before they go home. They like, damn, they gotta go get massages and shit.
That was a dance, man.
No, the stupidest. I'm talking about slap neck. Call it slap neck.
And I don't need no one else.
All foot moves, knowing foot moves. No, Rich, I just saw you. You was caught in the moment just now.
I was in the moment, man.
You was a blast of the past. You was
Step
caught
back.
there.
I want to catch myself. All right, let me get back on camera. Enough
Got
of that.
soul,
Enough
super
that.
bad.
Enough that.
Super blast.
Man, listen, this is all real music right here, man.
Real music.
And let's take a moment out to
Shout out to Jerry Poindexter, too.
Yeah.
I rode with him last night. Jerry Poindexter is James Brown's keyboard player and music manager for 35 years.
It was that kind of showcase.
Yeah. It was nice. Yeah, man.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, you know, anywhere where I'm going, you know it's gonna be
off the
sweet,
chain.
man.
It really is.
Come on, man. Why you
Yeah.
gonna
Did you
deny?
go
You
live?
gonna doubt me?
Yeah. I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together.
When we're together.
Yes, indeed I am.
Believe that.
One is on a shout
And I thought about you last night too. I was like, damn, my
Richard should have been here,
wingman wasn't here.
Yeah.
You would have loved to meet these people last night. I met some incredible people.
Yeah. I broke my wing last night.
Certainly.
Sending a shout out to Royal Radio Memphis and to our good friend Una and Boo Mitchell over there who are holding it down. Let me give them a rousing round of applause for allowing us to share some of the great music that they play over at Royal Radio Memphis. I know it's late for y'all.
Yes, Royal Records.
And Royal Records, of course.
Rhythm.
Yeah, man. And we've got Dark Knight, who has helped us make that connection. Dark Knight, what have you to say for yourself in connecting us up with Royal Radio Memphis and Royal Records Memphis?
Oh, man, I think it's a great relationship, you know?
Right.
Man, Memphis created genres of music. They created a genre.
Yeah.
They just have artists. They created a genre.
The Delta Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know? So it's a great thing. I mean, their catalog is so huge.
And not just Delta Blues, and not just
Royal Records,
blues.
the catalog.
American Airlines Blues and
well, hold on, Rock.
Frontier
one of the
Jet
things
Airlines Blues.
I think to myself is when you consider
But Royal came up in a segregated
one of the
South.
most popular genres of music is R&B.
Yes.
And most people don't quite recognize what the R and the B stands for. Well,
Rhythm and blues, baby.
Rhythm and blues.
Wow. They didn't
So
get that.
it is really the very gut, the very root, the very underground radio of everything we know. It's probably why Soul Train and the songs from Soul Train had that
People all over the
guttural rhythm and blues element to it, and then the fact that he used a train as if
Yeah.
it was the
Not just a
railroad.
train, but a grooving train.
Grooving
a soul train, baby. It was a soul train. Did that, but really, but I mean, think about it. That train really had life to it.
Hey,
Didn't
but
it?
do y'all remember when
that
they
train had life?
It was
remember they redid it? You remember they redid it when they
Sure.
brought it?
They sure
brought it
did.
back.
They sure
redid
did.
the
They
Soul
sure
Train. It's
did.
like,
They sure did.
Well, you know, Royal Records and Royal Radio Memphis is that heart and soul.
Are they two in the same entity? Like, are they?
Well, Royal Records and Royal Radio Memphis is the offshoot of Royal Records.
That's what I was wondering.
but they
Like
recorded,
you should
right?
start a record company, and you should start a record company,
Right.
and you should start a record company. Everybody gets a record
No,
company right now.
You know how it's a segregated South? So they are literally, I don't know, maybe a half mile down the street from Stacks. So you couldn't record. They recorded Royal.
Okay.
And they just bring it around the corner.
And that's a fact, Jack, because I've
Yeah.
done some research on their website. And
So it was like an underground.
The
it was like
reason
the underground.
is, check this out. The reason is,
Yeah,
right,
they are
is
the-
because blacks and whites couldn't integrate. And so a black guy and a white guy couldn't even get together in a radio studio.
That's right.
Now,
Stacks
how
is
dumb
over
is
there, man.
that?
Wow.
They couldn't get together to make music together. That's how
You got, you got
segregated
the white
South
drums
was.
and you got the black drums. You gonna play the black drums. You gonna play the white drums. You know they got the set. Then they gonna give us the bongos.
You
and
could
shit.
not even assist black artists if you are a white person
Give us some
in
bongos.
those days in music. So there were several Memphis-based record companies, and Royal Records was one of them, one of the pioneers of this, as I understand my research on them, that would allow black and white musicians to get together. And listen, we can make fun of it and make light of it as much as we want. That happened in Los Angeles as well.
Yeah. What
In the 50s, you could not bring black musicians and white musicians
That's when they
together.
came with Solar Records, wasn't it?
That was all done underground, and maybe that is. I don't
Sounds
know
of
the
Los
history.
Angeles, like
yeah.
the Sounds of Los Angeles Records, you know.
Wow. Is that what Solar stands for?
Yeah.
No, I believe
Oh,
that.
my God.
You didn't know that?
No.
But you know about Solar Records?
But you know, now, like I told you about Pony
Yeah.
sneakers,
Right.
You know, property of New York.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what Solar
yeah.
Records stands for?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sounds of Los Angeles Records.
I never knew that.
You just
And I
thought it
know
was
Solar
yeah,
Records
you
so
thought it was
well.
Solar Records on the Solar.
Well,
some
it's sunny.
cosmic shit.
It's sunny out here.
Some
Sunny.
cosmic shit.
Thank you
Solar-
for
solar
all
Great
the
weed.
great music.
Great weed.
Sunny, all
Great
the
weed.
girls you bring to me. Don't make me sing. I did not know that.
Great weed.
So, but the same thing happened in Memphis, where black and white musicians couldn't even get together because of segregation. Well, Royal Records is one of those places where they could and did. And shouts to Una and Bo Mitchell, the Mitchell family, granddad and all.
Forget Archie.
Yep, who put all that together? It was quite a thing.
I meant this, like I
Archie's
said,
cousin.
about the.
Well, you went to Fisk.
Grandchild.
You were right
son.
down there.
Man. But I was speaking about the people that I want you to be. You know, I mean, you should have been there with me last night. Well, I would like for you to have been there with me last
Tell me
night.
about that.
Because I met the gentleman last night, and he's a son of. You know, we share the same kind of background. He's a son of an entertainer, and just had all this history, all these people that he talked about. Man, he's talked about some deep shit, man. I know his conversation was his language. I speak his language. You know what I'm saying? Because he was.
And I
born-
wish Rich was here.
Man,
'Cause
but
he
he
could go back.
wants to bring this guy that he one of his good friends who actually controlled landed the rover on Mars or whatever. The rover,
Really?
yeah,
From NASA?
right?
From NASA?
This guy actually landed and like actually runs it. You know what I'm saying? And he wants to bring that guy onto the station, and because it kind of ties in with cannabis as well. So he wants to bring this guy in
So you mean to tell me that could imply that he was
to the moon,
smoking some cannabis?
and landing that thing.
Moon rocks.
Landing that thing. Real moon rocks.
Moon rocks.
Landing that thing. Asteroids.
Speaking of which, we intended to have
Oh,
the guys from Moon Rocks here. I'm going
Yeah.
to pull up some information about them.
No doubt.
The Native Moon Rocks is an organization, first native on the Moon Rocks, native OG Moon Rocks. We were planning to have them in tonight. They couldn't make it. We're
They'll be here
looking to
next
have
week.
them here next week, so stay tuned for more information from them. I think it's important to talk about that. I was really looking forward, Rock, to having them in here tonight because when you talk about Moon Rocks, I'm a big fan, and I want to give a shout out to the Breakfast Club, DJ Envy, Charlemagne the God, and the beautiful
What's her name?
Miss Yee, Angela Yee.
Angie Yee.
Right,
Angie.
Angie Yee. Love y'all show.
To the Chinese.
Love y'all to love ours. You can't talk about cannabis like we do. So check us out as well. Every Friday at 4:20 Pacific Standard Time here on LA Talk Live, the Marijualogist. But that said,
Can they smoke?
no, they not like we do, and not on camera, and we shouldn't either. But the
We
fact
don't. We're not
is,
smoking.
yeah, right. And we're not a stoner show. But the fact is,
Swish or sweet.
Charlemagne brought up the concept or the experience that he had been around people smoking moon rocks.
Oh, wow.
He also mentioned to Damian Marley, who I saw today in an interview on their show, Breakfast Club, where Charlemagne said, "Man, I don't like that weed they grow in L.A. It's too strong."
What? Strong, man.
Yeah, and I thought
Yeah,
that was
dude.
very interesting.
It's
And
too
Damien said, "Me love it, Sin.
Me love
Me
it.
love it, Sin." He didn't say that. He said, "Love it, no problem, no problem with me." People don't understand dosage, and that's been
That's
one of
the
the
whole
thing
thing.
I've harped
Yeah.
on for the past
Man, it's like
month
drinking.
or two.
It's like drinking. You have to
Exactly.
know your
gotta
limit,
know
man.
your limit, don't you? Don't you? And just because it's cannabis doesn't mean you won't get drunk. Yes, there are some super strong strains out here. For all of you people traveling to Los Angeles,
Right.
we're right outside of LAX. We're going to watch and
When it
laugh
be-
at you
when it becomes
as you
legal.
stagger through the streets. So don't do it. But yes, there is some cannabis out here that is as powerful and will get you so messed up you think you've had too many drinks.
It will have you stuck, just couch locked.
You can go to an event and, in fact, drink
puff.
too many cannabis-infused sweet concoctions.
Liquid shots.
Yeah, liquid shots.
All you gotta do is ask Richard.
Yes. My twin had my evil twin had an evil night.
He had an evil night.
Liquid shots. And
they were so good and so accessible and so
it
quick
was
to
just
slam.
amazing. Yeah, you knock back 6 of them, even realizing that it takes 2 hours
his evil half
for them
twin,
to kick in. Yeah.
His evil half twin stepped out on us on the arrived
Mr.
on the
Hyde.
scene.
Yeah.
His evil half twin.
What was that like?
Yeah.
What was that like?
About $100,000 in bail. And
you need a Manzuri.
the next 9 months in court, but
man, he was like,
we won't talk about that right now. That's not.
He was like the human statue.
Yeah.
That couldn't move.
Yeah,
That's
on the
story.
ground.
The human statue that couldn't
on the
move.
ground. I was like, yeah.
The human statue.
None of that's true, ladies and gentlemen.
move.
But my point is,
starring Richard
dosage
Karr.
is important when it comes to cannabis, and because there are so many extracts and other ways to consume it, you better be careful when you're out there.
Tell them
out
again.
and about. Yeah.
You better be careful.
You better be careful. Yeah. You better watch out.
Yeah, and you better not pout.
Yeah.
You better not
Well,
shout.
Christmas
I'm
is
telling you
coming.
why.
Yeah, just smoke it out.
Santa Claus ain't coming to help you when you get high.
Did I just rub my nose and say Christmas is coming?
Man.
Say no to cocaine.
Man, Christmas is coming.
I don't get that.
Snow is coming.
But,
it ain't here already.
Yeah.
It's probably here in some states already.
But my
Snow's
point
already
being, listen, folks out there, I think it's really important as we come down to the final few moments of the show. Be careful about your consumption. Be careful about how you consume. You must be responsible when it comes down to cannabis, because it can get a little messy if you don't know your dosage level.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone turns you on to any type of liquids or edibles
oh my
or
God.
waxes or any of that stuff, you really want to, take your time, think about it, and
Go
you
light.
might want to
Just
ask
go
a
light.
simple question.
Always go light.
Go light and
go
ask
light.
a simple question. What's the THC content? Anything beyond 50 for the average individual THC, you want to stay right there about 50.
Always go light, and you can always increase your dosage. Just like I tell people when I cut their hair as a barber, I tell them, I say, look, I can always cut more off, but I can't add no more hair to your head.
Unless I got to glue it back from the floor.
I can't add no hair to your head, but I can always go lower, brother. So if I need to go lower, let me know. But I ain't no add no hair to your head. Right. So don't get mad at me because I cut it too
low. And the
low.
same applies with cannabis.
Start off low and just keep going.
Go easy.
Go easy.
I mean, most of them are like a 250 milligram. If you got a gummy, right? So you can start with 100 milligram. You can start with 100 milligram gummy. Yeah, keep it low.
And people don't understand.
You ain't gonna die.
Listen,
don't worry about it. You're not gonna die. Start slow.
Anybody out there right now who understands the basic concept of a gram, that is a $20 bag of cannabis. That's what we typically call a dub. 2 fingers. That's a gram, approximately.
You went back to 2 fingers.
Yeah, that's a dub. That's why they called it dubs.
Dubs.
Yeah, 2
fingers, baby.
Because that's pretty much what they would give you.
Yeah.
Gone are the glory days of my youth when you could spend $5 and get 20 J's. The cannabis wasn't as strong.
Right.
But after 20 J's,
it was a seed convention.
You were pretty much cool with what you got.
Back then, it was a
after
seed
20
convention.
J's. 20 J's in 20 days, you were fine. You're back to buy your next $5 vanilla envelope.
And that was almost probably like an
bag.
ounce almost.
Yeah.
So 20 of them J's,
it was
an
like
ounce.
probably about 8 grams in that piece.
4 fingers.
Yeah, 4 fingers.
I'm talking about your equivalent to like if it was a gram of joint. If it was a gram of joint, you got down there.
It was the envelope they put them in.
Are you throwing a gang sign?
Yeah. No, 4 fingers.
The 4 finger bags.
It was what the
whole
bags
bag.
were that long.
Right.
They were like little vanilla
envelopes.
Envelopes, but they were like about that wide and that much, maybe 3 fingers in that wide.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Stapled up.
Moving on.
Throw your set up.
When you think of what a gram is, and that's like whatever you're getting in that little tiny bag of $20 worth of cannabis, or when you go to your cannabis collective, that's a gram. And when you start talking milligrams, well, that's that gram a million times.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And That's how medicine breaks down. When
In the
people
pill,
begin to
from
understand
that.
down to the pill level, down to the cannabis level, and forget about pills, I don't take them, down to
the
milligram extract level, you need to know what is meant by a milligram.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very important.
And I mean,
know your math.
It starts with understanding what a gram is.
The majority
Right.
of the companies now,
Right.
they're coming out
Two
with those.
fingers, throw them up.
Right.
A dub.
The
Yeah,
majority,
it's not that hard.
majority of the companies coming out with the bottles with the droppers in there with the 1 milligram dosage at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I had a situation when I was giving some meds to one of my friends, and I dipped the bottle, squirted the eyedropper in there, and so I gave it to him. So I told him, I said, just do drops.
One drop.
This person takes it and just squeezes the whole
Oh, my
thing as if that's a
God.
drop.
Knocked it back like a shot.
But I was so upset because I'm like, you are not listening. You know, you just took such a ratchet approach about it. But,
And right, that's effective immediately. I mean, like it's soon. It's not like.
but this is a person that drinks a lot, smokes a lot, whatever. So I really don't know. He don't probably know what it did to him.
How,
But I know
how fast would that kick in? A drop.
It's still-
kick
it's
in?
still- oh,
How
drop-
fast would
it's
one
Still
drop
going to go
kick
through the
in?
gut.
still got to go through like at least
But if
about
it's
an hour.
sublingual,
Still
yeah,
gotta go
it's
at least an
probably
hour,
within
hour
about
and a
an
half.
hour, 45
But 10
minutes.
drops is going to kick in an hour or two.
Probably
About the same time, yeah, because it's sublingual.
It still got to
you
go
know.
through his system.
Hey, listen,
$100,000 bill.
let's get back to the mechanics of
Right, you have to do the
cannabis
one drop
consumption
dosage.
from its primitive level. The lungs are a fast passage to the bloodstream. So anything you smoke, because lungs are soft tissue. Let's get biological on this, right? Lungs are soft tissue. If you inhale it, gets to the bloodstream faster. If you drink it, takes a little longer. Right? If you eat it, takes even longer. Same applies to cannabis. If you knock back shots within about an hour, God forbid you had some alcohol. Because when those sugars
Goes
combine,
in the liver
you're
and
really going to
everything.
go off. Yeah, you're going to be turned up.
Yeah.
If you drink first and smoke a blunt after, the sugars,
God.
the sugar
Oh man,
combinations.
They'll never do that.
it's like you got to reverse it.
When you do
Never
that,
do that right there.
you're going to be turned up
Even more.
beyond.
You're going to think you smoking moon
Yeah,
rocks.
Exactly. If you smoke moon rocks, I would not even drink.
No.
Leave
Water.
off the champagne.
Water.
You still have to take those
You know,
and break
just
them
drink a
down
lot of
and-
water.
and add
Of
it to
course.
the cannabis,
Yeah.
even although it's still cannabis.
And some people are knocking that back straight
By itself.
By itself. And
And
Ikkor,
that's-
I think you put it so poignantly when you said people
Yes.
want to be as high off cannabis as they are off crack or
no,
meth.
no, high the eye of
Yeah,
heroin.
exactly.
They want to be high off. They want to feel like they want to have the same feel of heroin, but off
Right.
the trees.
They want to nod.
Without
Yeah. They
saying
wanna be
without
on a
saying
nod.
they're heroin addict.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's just not good.
Yeah, they don't want to scratch.
That's
They
not
don't-
good.
They don't want to be
But there's a
scratching
time to
themselves.
have that couch lock. It's like you want to like we have the med called.
Couch lock has always been there.
But we have the med
Cannabis,
called the unwind. So
consumers have always been portrayed
But understanding what
and
you
vilified
But
as
there's-
lazy couch potatoes.
right,
So that's
but
been
there's
there.
also productive times, you
It's a new
know.
age.
So people like know when to take your different
OGs.
strains
When do they
because you got your
indicate?
morning, noon, and
Yeah,
nights. You
you
know,
got
you want to
your-
you want to still be
You
productive throughout
gotta
the
know
day.
how to smoke, man.
You have to. You want to still
Yeah,
be able to
man.
be productive throughout the day.
The
You want to like
sativa, the
be on the
hybrid,
sativa
indicas.
while you're at work. I mean, it's
Yeah,
really your
sativa,
preference if you
But
whatever
yeah,
you can
'cause
handle.
You can't,
whatever
you
you can
can't
handle.
even preach that, and you
It's whatever you can handle.
dictate that.
You
People are
can't.
going to want
You
to
can't.
smoke the
But you-
downers during the day, particularly
Man.
depressants, and people
Right.
are going to want to
Sativa,
smoke
man.
uppers
Right.
during the day or hybrids if they are movers and shakers, or at least
Exactly.
people want to get up off the couch.
Exactly.
You can't dictate that.
No, you
with
can't. You
cannabis,
can't.
yeah. No more than you can with pills.
But with the indica, you know, we already know that it's like a more of an unwind, just like this.
That's a
more of
lay
an
down,
uplift.
man. That's a
Well,
nighttime, man.
speak to that. I mean, people still are kind of confused.
So
They
that's the point
don't
I'm making.
understand
That's what I'm saying.
the
So
whole
with the
concept
indica-
of couch potatoes when it comes to smoking
trade-
weed.
Like the
Transition.
oils, like the oils that we have at the company that I represent. You know, King Harvest.
Shouts to King Harvest.
Shout out, shout out.
KingHarvest.org.
Lee Simpson.
Lee Simpson, Bridget Scordo.
What up?
But so you that's why they label them unwind, uplift, and restore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the synergy, because
And straight CBD,
and
which has
and
no
pure
psycho-
CBD too.
CBD,
Yeah.
that's what that's the
Oh my
restore.
God.
You have the restore. That's what I call the restore. But you have the different dosings and the different strains because, like I said, the unwind is for like, okay, I went to work all day. I'm ready to just relax at home. So let me just go and take some of these drops. That way I can just wind down, some nice
relax.
sedative, and relax and go ahead and just enjoy the rest of my night, fall asleep, boom, good sleep. And I'm still being medicated. But now, okay, I woke up in the morning. It's time to go to work. I still want to feel good, feel my buzz, but I want to, still be up and productive. So you would take the uplift, and that's the sativa one, and that keeps you up throughout the day while you're at work, still being productive for 6 to 8 hours. This med is still working in you for 6 to 8 hours after the initial hour 45 minutes, or hour and 30 minutes that it kicks into your body. Then you have a 6 to 8 hour medicine ride. I should say medicinal ride. While you're at work. So you're still being productive throughout the whole day, and you're not smelling like flower. I mean, like the flower or the smell of smoke or burnt plant matter, and you can still be productive. And
Well, speaking of that,
nobody knows what's going on.
I'm glad you brought that up, and forgive me, I don't want you to lose your thought on that. But now we've got vapes.
Same situation.
And vapes are more highly concentrated versions of cannabis.
But the only thing about the vape is...
You know what you're getting from a J based on what you sprinkled into the paper.
Right.
Or the blunt.
With the vape, it's so many...
When it comes to the vape, man, it gets to another level of dosage.
Just like the vape is not too much...
Weeks.
I mean, and the vape is not too much different than the dab. You know what I mean?
Well...
as far as the hit-wise in the field.
We need to cover dabs alone. Oh, my God. I had a dab experience I would not want anyone to repeat.
Series. Flower, dab, shatter.
Good point.
I mean, you can go like, what else?
Bring all the shatter people in, all the dab people.
Like,
Crumble world.
What's crumble?
Man.
I mean, man, for me, I still have, I got a CBD prescription. I still smoke regular weed, but man, it helps with my pain. I don't take pills.
But the vape,
I don't take any pain pills.
The vape's still gonna it's still medicine for you. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Well,
think,
it is.
But
medicine. It's better medicine.
But to
when
do
it comes to flower, it's better medicine.
No, but
way better medicine.
No, but I'm saying, but as far as the ingesting it, right?
Right.
Dosing is totally different than the coverage of the oils being sublingually done has hitting your receptors more than the vape is hitting your receptors.
Are you suggesting that
because the
if
vape
you
is
do
almost
sublingual,
like the vape is more or less head
still got to go
the
through
head,
your
your
soft
head.
tissue,
but
not so much through the lungs, but through your soft mouth tissue.
Right, and the vape
Good
is
point.
more up in here. It blows like almost a
It
smoke.
is.
Still.
It's a headier high.
It's a headier high. It's more of a smoke. But the internalized of the oil, sublingual, that's going to hit
Straight,
and get into the bloodstream and just like get all the way in there. So I would think that it would be more beneficial to do the oil. This is just my assessment, to do the oil than the vape.
Right.
But,
I would agree.
But the vape is still good because you got some people who don't want to do the oil. But the oil is like the most efficient and safest way to do it because you can't go wrong with just dropping it on your tongue.
One drop on your tongue.
You can't. And that don't take that much.
You're not
work
harming
to do
your
it.
lungs.
It doesn't take much work to do that. A lot of people, I got to set up and do my vape. And I got to get the pin and screw it on and charge the battery.
It don't take
Or I
that
got to
long.
roll up a blunt. I got to roll up a joint. I got to put it into the roller,
process.
roller.
You're right.
That's
joint
the
roller,
process.
break the shit. All these processes. But the oil, I'm just speaking as far as treating
That
yourself
is.
with medicine. You can go ahead and dose.
Lung
and just
cancer.
Boom, boom, boom. And so I'm even for the weakest patient, right? They can still put it up and just go ahead and dose, drop on their tongue and be done with it. Or somebody can just go ahead and do it fast and be done with it. It don't take a lot to have to turn somebody over and pick up this and give them a shot and just turn them over, drop on the tongue while they still laying there, even while they sleep.
And the drop is in CBD and
Even
THC?
while they sleep, it can be still done.
It's still in THC
Still
and
in-
CBD?
it's in all
Either
of it.
one.
It's just the fact that the CBD is in all of it. It's just
Yeah.
that they extract it because somebody don't want to be high.
Yeah.
But you might say, I still want to have the feel of being smoking the trees, but I can't
Yeah.
smoke no more. So you're like, okay, we'll take that. You still
I
got
do it for the pain.
You still got it for the pain. It's still, but you still the CBD is still giving you the medicine as the same as pure CBD. You just want to be high, a sedative.
Great thing about it.
And science is, is advancing quickly in understanding why the non-psychoactive CBD aspects of cannabis is benefiting people who have terminal illnesses, incurable illnesses, things that the medical community has struggled with for many years. The science is advancing and understanding how, may I repeat myself, the non-psychoactive, meaning you don't get high, but the CBD aspect of it fixes what's in your body because, as we've discussed many times before, your body has a built-in endocannabinoid system, meaning that it has receptors in your brain and throughout your body that are designed to receive the benefits of cannabis. It's just like eating vegetables or certain fruit, or the notion that eating carrots strengthens your vision. All the things that we understood about food, fruit, and even meats and fowl and fish in those days, where we didn't take advantage of it and, overdose on it. The same thing applies to cannabis. I think that's the central message I'd like to impart to our tuners before we leave tonight, from my perspective, is that you must do it in balance.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
And with cannabis, because not only is it used as a medicine, as we're learning more and more, but historically, and especially amongst the indigenous people of the planet, and especially African Americans, it has also become a sacrament to our community. Something we use in place of standard pharmaceutical to resolve some of our medical issues. And I think it's important for people to understand that we're not just here talking about cannabis because we like to engage in it, but we're here to talk about cannabis because of what it has meant to our lives, both physically, spiritually, and mentally. Physically, I can't speak to that much because I'm not a pain sufferer, but spiritually and mentally, I got to tell you, it has been truly a miracle for me.
Miracle worker.
Help me clear out my thoughts, help me see things more clearly, help me relate to people more spiritually, help me find my inner spirituality. One of my favorite sayings from Bob Marley is, the one thing about cannabis is it reveals you to yourself.
Man, does it.
And once you get past a certain point of yourself where you get past the dislike of yourself or the fear of yourself, you'll get to the acceptance of yourself because you've been yourself for so long. It takes time. And then you really begin to understand how valuable yourself is and what the gift you are to life. I always used to say at the end of one of my favorite shows, relish in the gift that you are to life, because God only made one like you.
Exactly.
Think about that. Everybody's a gift in life, and God only made one like you, and you never know whose life you're going to gift just by being there. So in this cannabis realm and what we're doing with this, the sacrament this has been to our community, both the sacrament and the sacrilege, because we've lost a lot of brown men to the penitentiary and prisons and to violence because of this sacred plant. But I think we're coming into a new era now in 2018, and we need to stop and think about it and acknowledge that we are coming into a new era of opportunity. And we, as black people, should step up and start owning businesses, shout,
and supporting our business as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Each other, We had this discussion earlier.
I was going to say, shout out to Damian Marley, who has several new cannabis collectives, both in Colorado, out here in L.A. We're looking to have him on. I may have mentioned that earlier. But you're right about the support of those.
You and I had this discussion earlier.
Yes,
this legal this business
but I've been having
legal.
I've been having a lot of people come in our collective lately and say, "Oh, y'all black owned?" We're saying, "Yeah." They saying, "Wow, I'm stuck here. This is where I'm coming." I'm like,
"That's
beautiful to hear.
Support.
Because that time is coming around again. I feel somewhere in the air. It's like black. Our togetherness maybe, getting. Oh, our eyes are opening again. I should say. Because everything repeats itself. A lot of things, history repeats itself.
Right.
But what I was going to say, one point, Rich, to what you said earlier about how they, the scientists or whatever, are, figuring out whatever. But I read about, oncologists who was treating cancer patients was saying, I wish that we could actually implement this into the medical society because it works, right?
Works.
So she said, but the only thing that we can't figure out is what's really working in this CBD. Like what's because the plant is. You see how many strains we have. First of all, look how infinite the strains are.
CBD
It's a
saves
mystery,
kids'
but you
lives.
have to realize there's a mystery in that plant. Just when they think that they got it, is when that plant has made another move to do something else because it's like the spine you can't figure out. You know what I'm saying?
Some things you just gotta leave
leave it alone and let it
alone
be.
and let
So
it be.
so they man wants to discover everything, but
or master it all.
but that's why there's a big problem with it because they can't figure it. Not so much as figuring out the taxation and all this situation.
15%.
They can't figure out this plant period that's been here for so long. They can't figure it out. Now they done went in. The oncologist said they didn't went in to study. Let's study. Okay, let's study the CBDs. Before you know it, when it's like when they like a formula you come up with about like the earth, and all of a sudden you don't know about this little plant that grows in Uruguay that you never heard of.
You gotta go harvest
and the leaf just fell off of it. You didn't equate that into your formula, you know what I'm saying? So they got to erase all of that and start back over because it just keeps changing every time. Every time. Why do you think we got so many different strains of cannabis? It just keeps changing over and over, and they can't figure out the mystery inside all of that. So my thing is, if you can't, that's like asking the question of why is the subtraction sign this way, or why is the addition sign this way? It's just something you can't explain. Just know what it is.
Who invented the word God?
All these words, all these words.
But that one in particular, who invented the word God?
Exactly.
I mean,
they was like God.
There are certainly.
It was a sound. It was just a sound. It was like God.
There are names for him in other languages, but certainly
it was something that scared them. They was like,
anywhere
God.
you go, you can say the word God in all languages, and people understand what that means.
The one word God. You can say God. Just say God.
What is the root of laughter?
I know.
What created the chuckle?
I know. That's hilarious. That's
the giggle.
Right. The emotion behind it, like the feel to make you laugh.
That is so universal that all people
can do it involuntarily,
irrespective of language.
They can do it voluntarily
borders,
and involuntarily.
Yeah. The tear. Crying.
No.
All babies.
Just think about the first of everything. Just think about the first person that did everything first. The first of everything. Like the first person that farted. He's like, what the hell was that? When they used the bathroom, they didn't know what that was when they came. What the hell is that? But they know they wasn't sick though. They know they wasn't sick. But it's just something like I'm not sick, ain't nothing wrong. But
this is natural.
Something happens.
This should happen.
Like what the? Like,
I should let this happen.
The first person that said, okay, we're gonna wear these pants. We're gonna wear these jeans.
I need to cover my nuts.
I need to cover my nuts. I need to wear these underwear.
He put on a loincloth.
Oh my God!
Put on this time. We gotta go get over there in the maple tree. Go grab some of that maple tree. We got the maple tree pants.
First. And so think about it, and let's bring this.
Imagine the caveman. They like, oh, he's sexy in the maple leaf pants. Look at that. He got them maple
Let's bring it back 360.
He cool with that club on his.
Get a sense of the all-encompassing scope of cannabis, from cloth and wearables. Thanks to hemp.
They wore the coconut hat, left the
to
thing
medicine,
left the thing out of
to
it.
medicine.
He got a good dental plan.
That even hundreds of years later, through becoming a sacrament for some and a cure-all for others, cannabis is still here. It's still here. We're still fighting this battle.
They found a joint in one of those Asian
10,000 years old. They found a cannabis leaf in a Chinese tomb.
It's been here forever, man.
10,000 years old.
He was like, man, bury me like Tupac said. Hey, put a blunt in my casket. Let me get my dead homies high. That's what the Asian said.
I'm going to keep it real with you. First thing I thought was, let's fire it up.
Man, that
see what it is.
That tastes.
Let's clone it.
Woo,
Let's
it would have
clone
been
it.
so moldy and moldy.
How about we clone it? Just clone
It
it.
had so much mold on that thing.
But
boy,
that
you'd
might have been
died.
good mold.
You'd have died right.
That
with
might
him.
have been good mold. Be like you just nod off straight out.
No, that's that
You're
joint.
gonna have
That Kill
That's
Bill.
the curse joint.
That's
They
that
said-
Kill Bill.
No, that's the curse joint. That's the curse joint. They're gonna be like,
That
whoever
Dr.
find
Kavor-
this, they're gonna smoke it.
That Dr.
And they're gonna
Kevorkian.
fall right in there with him.
Yeah, it's that
And
Dr.
they ain't gonna never
Kevorkian.
find his body no more. He's gonna fall right there, and then he's just gonna they gonna be stuck there. Nobody gonna never find his ass.
You be mummified there. With
Mummified
the,
with the mummy,
with a blunt.
with a blunt, the Asian mummy. You sit there.
Somebody take the joint out your hand and say, let me hit that.
Let me hit that, man. That shit was the fire, boy. That was that kill. Like you said, that Kill
That
Bill.
was when that Marlon Wayans movie was like, give me some of that.
That's some of that. That's some of that Elvis.
Yeah.
All right, I think we need to get on up out of here, guys. It's a little past our bedtime.
On a Friday night. Baby.
Yeah, man. So
Get
why
up
don't
in
we
the morning.
put it to sleep tonight?
Yeah.
And we're gonna
Smoking good,
be featuring
real
a
good,
special
smoking
replay
fresh, off in the hood,
last
real
week's
nice
episode
every night.
of the Wolf's
Wake
Den
up,
when
I
he was
take
live
flight,
doing
wake and
5
bake,
hours in
smoking
the
trees,
house.
putting trees inside of me. Ooh wee, feeling good. Step off the door, it's time to hit the hood. I'm in my ride, Cadillac. Platinum silver driving, I'm livin', I'm wildin', I'm smoking good Friday night with my dogs, round table nights, it's us on the bus, yeah, we rush, smoking good. I told y'all, me and my boys, we about to have a ball when I pull out the big bag of that green thing, we about to let the lungs sing, oh, burp smoke to the air. One of them girls with the long hair or the short hair, I don't care, long as you got that fat derriere. Oh, put the trees in me. It's treason, cause the trees in me mix. I'm sick to say the least, from the belly of the beast every day of the week, smoking trees. From the D to the CPT, LA, Friday, LA Talk Live, we live on a Friday night.
Now it is
Marijualogist.
Liquor mean forward, gunshot means rewind. You don't have to do that. So they're about to load up the car buying it.
Rewind. Detroit in the building. Everybody.
If it's 10, if it's 10.
Detroit versus every fucking body. Been many places and seen many faces, and can't nothing compared to Detroit versus everybody. No disrespect to the mother cities, but it's tell them Chuck Jeffrey's projects, baby. Been many places and seen many faces, and can't nothing compared to Detroit versus everybody. No disrespect to them other cities, but it's Yo, we sweeter than our D hats, and on our backs with that our sign, with those Cardi's on. I need the top 10 smash and titty bar crashing. Where my niggas at? That be stacking those racks and spinning that show. My niggas from the mold, we ain't no hoes when they come to getting dough. See, we know how to get it. We strap a lot, trap a lot, a whole lot of bacon lots. We still get a lot of props. Detroit City, do the jit. Home of the cabarets, thrown on Saturdays. Sexy ladies come out and play electric slide dance all night. My city live, we worldwide, we ride anywhere. We ain't never scared to touch down in your town, representing Motown. To the date, we all DIE. What up, though? It's Detroit versus everybody. Many faces, it can't nothing compared to Detroit versus everybody. No disrespect to them other cities, but it's what? Dre Road, Westside, West Warren, Timing, Jeffrey's projects in the building. No disrespect to them other cities. Crunks knock niggas out. When it's me versus you or you versus me, you gon' see that I'm from the D. When it's me versus you or you versus me, nigga, you gon' know that it's from the D. Hey Chuck, no disrespect to them other cities, but it's Detroit. Hey, what up though? They gave Kwame and Bobby killed with Terry and Big Meech. A lot of calendars away from the streets. I'm like, come on, Judge, lower their numbers and set them brothers free. They got families defeating the D. Cause see, we damn near an all black city. So if you black, you riding with me. I got some white peeps riding with me. I got some essays and I don't discriminate. I rep the D to LA, the CPT, 300 block of Peach. What up, though, blood? What up, though, cuz? What up, though, thugs and gangsters? My hustlers, y'all with me? Cool. Then it's us, we verse everybody. Lyrics that'll lift your body, hit you like a 12-shotty, move you like a Maserati. My city is fast, sexy, with a lot of class. Now litigated girls and boys. Everywhere we go, we making noise. We Detroit. And seen many faces, you can't nothing compared to Detroit versus everybody. No disrespect to them other cities, but it's Detroit versus everybody. Been many places to see, many faces, you can't nothing compared to Detroit versus everybody. No disrespect to them other cities, but it's Coney Island, 7 Mile, Belle Isle, and downtown. It's Joe Louis Fist, Black Power in this bitch. And don't forget about no fly zone. If you ain't got plugs to do shows, fly your ass home. This a Wolf and Pit Bull zone. I'm from the most dangerous zip code, 48204. We grimy, gritty, our ladies are pretty. We 4-season hustlers. We go hard, we make all the cars. We got singers, hoopers, ballers, rappers, and movie stars. And we are Detroit. Don't try me, try me. Fuck around and have your fam cry me a river. I'm off of exit 187, that's Grand River. You are now entering the hood. Say my name and you all good. And if you don't, you gon' meet the hood. I got 2 cities that's riding with me. Been many places and seen many faces. It can't nothing compared to Detroit versus everybody. No disrespect to them other cities, but it's Detroit versus everybody. Been many places and seen many faces. It can't nothing compared to Detroit versus everybody. No disrespect to them other cities, but it's tell them Chuck, yo, when it's me versus you or you versus me, oh, you gon' see that I'm from the D. When it's me versus you or you versus me, oh, you gon' know that I'm from the D. No disrespect to the other cities, but it's Detroit versus everybody.
Yeah, put your hands together.
Yeah, you call the
wolf. Show tonight. Our in-studio guest, our esteemed colleague, my co-host and best friend, Ikkor the Wolf. Want to thank you, my brother, for that.
Thank you. I didn't know you
wrap
play
the
that.
show out.
Yeah.
I know you didn't. So we're going to wrap it out tonight. This is the Marijualogist, the world's only show that explores the global impact of cannabis. Yeah!
Shout out to my boy Karr, Chucky Hill in the building.
Ikkor the Wolf.
Legalize it.
Rastafari as he bless our
See y'all next
tonight.
week, next Friday.
Shouts to Royal Radio Memphis and Una Mitchell,
Dark
Mitchell,
Knight in the building. Dark Knight
in the house tonight.
Richard Karr in the building.
Michael Bond
Mike
in the
Bond in the
brothers.
building. Natural Lifestyles Wellness in the building. Green Cross is in the building. Yeah, King Harvest in the building. We live, y'all, till next week on the Marijualogist. LA Talk Live. This is reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. We are LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Tune in next week, 4:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for another episode of The Marijualogist. Ow!
And I will advertise it. Some call it some call it the weed. Some call it marijuana. Some of them call it ganja. Never mind, you got to legalize it. And don't criticize it. Legalize it, yeah, and I will advertise it. Singers smoking, players of instrumental. Legalize it, yeah, that's the best thing you can do. Doctor smoking, nurses smoking, judges smoking, even the lawyer too. So you got to legalize it and don't criticize it. Legalize it, yeah, and I will advertise it. For the good for us,
gotta go. I'm working. I'm working.
Doctor, this is the mayor talking.
All right.
Doctor?
Come on, what?
Always do the right thing.
That's it?
That's it.
I got it. I'm gone.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.